Secretary General wa PMOA, Association of Matatu Operators in Nairobi. Kumekuwa na hii challenge ya kutoa gari number plates ambayo imekuwa ni hasara kwetu sana as SACCOs and as well as investors. We have really tried to have an engagement with the Ntsa and they are not really willing to have a conversation with us. And we feel it's not fair because of the kind of investment we have put in these vehicles. And our manyankas in terms of numbers, they constitute less than 0.5% of the entire vehicles in Nairobi. So I don't think we are a nuisance in the transport sector because we have a niche, a population that really want to use the PSV. And manyankas has been a culture in Kenya for the longest. So I don't think we can wake up one day and then we try to kill a culture that most of the population, young people in Kenya, mostly in Nairobi, really want to use the manyankas. I think Ntsa, they're acting in bad faith and they're not willing to have an ear to us. So that is why we decided now we have to look for justice in the courts. In terms of investors, we cannot give up because apparently what happens as an investor buys a vehicle and subscribes into a SACCO. So you see there are SACCOs that have several fleet of vehicles. For instance, to give an example, like Super Metro has a fleet of 700. So in that we can have a population of around 400 investors in that one SACCO. So you can calculate other SACCOs because the numbers of vehicles that we have PSV in Nairobi, they are up to around 28,000 in terms of numbers.
Kwa majina naitwa Salim na mimi ni investor wa matatu hapa Nairobi. Na kulingana na hii operation Ntsa, mimi kama investor imeniumiza. First of all, kwanza gari sio yangu, tumeshirikiana na bank kuweza niweze kwa hiyo gari. Na kulingana vile kumeenda, so far sasa gari yangu ni KDS imesimama almost saizi 1 month. Na mwisho wa mwezi bank hawatataka kujua kama kulikuwa na operation ama ikukua, wao watataka pesa zao kama kawaida. Na that's why nilikuwa nataka sana na tumekushirikiana tukakuja kotini kuweza kutafuta njia nyingine ya kuweza kufanya kazi, and that's why we are here. Nimekuwa kwa biashara matatu kutoka 2007 na nilianza kama makanga. Na nimekuwa kwa industry, so najua nikitaka kufanya hii biashara lazima utaangalia mali unaweka pesa yako na si kuinvest. Yeah. Na katika sekta matatu kuna all sort of matatus, but kwa Nganya, trust me, lazima utaenda deeper in your pocket uweze kutengeneza Nganya. Na kutengeneza Nganya si tunataka pana, unatengeneza simply because unajua at least yote za kupeleka na finance yako ya bank, at least vile nataka nipelekane haraka kidogo. Because sitaki kusema sana azinganya zineka ngapi na zineka pesa ngapi na day, but zineka just a good amount of money yenye najua iko worth investing in. Yes. Ukiona watu wengi wameingia sana kwa Nganya, is because kwangu mimi najua niko more satisfied na kuinvest kwa Nganya more than kuinvest kwa gari nyingine yoyote ile.
To Brandon, I represent our crews. When I talk about the crews, naongelea madereva wetu, naongelea makanga wetu, naongelea watu wetu wa kaosh. Kila mtu mwenye ako kwa matatu industry all the way toka gari anze kutengenezwa mpaka the moment that you guys you get to board them. Sisi ndio tunawa represent. Operation imetu affect in a way that if you do a spot check, ukienda utembee kwa major routes, kama mimi naishi Rongai, ukienda uangalia hapo kando utapata vijana wamekaa tu, hakuna kazi. Juu hii gari hii italisha huyo dereva, italisha hao watu wa stage. Matatu inakuwa, matatu moja imeandika more like 10 people. So hii ni kitu yenye tukipiga vita tumeimaliza. Number 2, angalia the uniqueness of the matatu industry, the manyanga culture. Angalia how tourists, they normally come to our country. Huwezi expect tourists atatoka huko akuja pande what is normal. Kwa watu husema normal is boring. That's why they find it like a tourist attraction. Wazungu watatoka comfortably na wakuja waseme we need this bus kwa sababu of the uniqueness and everything that the bus entails. So unaona tukipiga vita pia tunapiga vita kitu yenye imetusimamia sisi kama Kenya as a whole, si hata Nairobi, Kenya as a whole. Vijana wetu, crew wetu wanaumia, wengi wamekaa kwa mawe. Tutawasaidia aje? So if there is a way that tunashukuru leo tumefanikiwa, kesho mtashangaa hata hakuna vitu mbaya yenye itafanyika. Ni vile tu tumekewa spotlight sana, ile yenye hata when something normal ikifanyika hawawezi ongelea, but sisi watu wa manyanga tumesaidia sana. Angalia when it comes to, angalia si uenda charity events, si support local football tournaments. Angalia mtu akiwa na msiba, si uchanga hata tunapatiana gari for free watu waende. Hizo ndio vitu zenye yafaa you focus on, si kuangalia vitu zenye mnasema watu wameharibu ama kitu imefanyika. Na tunashukuru siku ya leo. So kama uko na swali iko tu sawa. Okay. Sasa unajua hapo mimi siwezi ongelelea. Mimi na represent crew na watu wengine, members of association, you'll have chairman amekuwa hapa, you'd have asked him that.
My name is Ntsa and I am a matatu blogger and a content creator. Here basically to talk about the matatu culture. One thing for sure, matatu culture imekeep watu wengi sana. Matatu culture is a source of income for a lot of people, for our young girls, our young men, a lot of people. So ikifika point enye like matatu culture will no longer be there, kutakuwa na a lot of lack of kutakuwa na employment for our people, and most of us will suffer when it comes to that, kwa sababu wengine matatu is our source of income. Yes, and I'd like to say matatu culture is also, kama venye my friend has said here, it is a source of tourist attraction. Unapata other people come from other countries to just come and see how our culture is beautiful, to just enjoy our matatus, to just enjoy our rides, to just feel the vibe of how our matatus are. Yes, we understand kuna mahali penye, once in a while we normally miss the point, but we will rectify on that. Given a chance, we will rectify on that. Yes.
Yes. Kwa majina naitwa Revive na mimi na represent maabiria. So to me na feel hata si ati na feel niko affected sana, because one, me choose manyanga kwa sababu ya kitu moja, inakuanga swift na mimi nafikanga kazi on time, unaona. So that's why mimi na choosing manyanga unlike kuchoose hizi gari zingine. So there was a day nashangaa like kuna sheria gani yenye traffic anasimamisha gari bila kuconsider abiria, anatoa kila mtu na anatuacha huko hivi. From there tunaanza tena kutafuta another way ya kufika tao. Na already nilikuwa very comfortable hapo ndani nikijua nishalipa pia, unaona. So what if I was a person working on a budget? Mimi nasema mimi niko na hizo nifike tao, nipige shughuli, hiyo do nyingine nitarudi nayo. So unajua hiyo so nimelipa, siwezi rudishiwa, unaona. So mimi naona if kuna option kama mtu ataki kutumia manyanga, well and good, but to mimi nitatumia manyanga always. So na feel tuko very affected na mazee, tunashukuru kwa now that we are coming back, itakuwa very okay. Yeah.
Is in Nasako. And you see, apparently you can't limit any Kenyan from doing business. We might have had this agreement before, and as per the last, when the vehicle was impounded, that vehicle was compliant in terms of inspection and RSL. That vehicle operates in Nasako. So we should not actually victimize George as an investor. His dad is a president, yes, but you see him is a young man. Personally, we had differences when we started, but I understood he's a young man who has passion in the industry. And we can't fight that kind of a person. It's important we get politics out of business. If George is willing to do business and the transport sector, we welcome him. Matatu industry accommodates everyone. Actually, if there is any business, a community in Kenya that doesn't have a tribe or a class is the matatu industry. So we should not pick a negative and run with it every minute. I think George has employed, because of his vehicle, there are people working. It's like another investor, like myself. So my vehicle, the people is feeding, that vehicle is feeding as well. If there is a wrong, that's what we need to rectify, a wrong, not to condemn. Because apparently in the sector and the law enforcers, they have always blanketly condemned our businesses, and that's not fair.
Maybe. One of the major concerns of the people of Kenya mostly is in the Nganya culture is the speed rush mostly. How do you intend as a support address that?
I think you people for the state, I think you are not conversant with how Nairobi works. You can't overspeed in Nairobi. The traffic alone, you can't do 80. You cannot. You can't do unless you are using expressway. And actually our vehicles are fitted by speed governors.
Digital.
They do 80. So I think one of the mistakes that we are doing, we try to microscope a small so that we condemn a culture that has always been there.
Maybe in the previous events, wakati mko mnapata makini mnazungumza, je, unadhani kwamba what has really changed? Graffiti nakumbuka kwamba 2 to 3 years ago Mr. President, the former president Kibaki alisema kwamba graffiti ikue, but ukiangalia saizi wamekuja unasema mtoma graffiti, mtoma screen, unajua vijana ndio sare zao. Maybe what's you think about that?
Sasa I think vile imekuwa ni tumekuwa na hiyo the government that comes or people in authority, wherever they come, they want to have policies that suit them, not regarding the business. One thing I can say, graffiti is a culture that has been there. Actually, there's a presidential declaration which has not been annulled, which is always there. So I think the Ntsa, they are doing a kind of an illegality. I'm not a lawyer. I think a lawyer can explain that. They're doing an illegality because the presidential declaration of graffiti is still there. And there's no law that has come to state otherwise. So I think we need to be fair. And again, the government should be very keen on the Kenyans who are going an extra mile to create employment. Because apparently, if you see Nganya, we pay a person who does music, we pay somebody who does design, the graffiti guy. So before this vehicle is on the road, I think around 3-4 industries benefit from the sector. And this is not something that a government should look down upon. We should be fair and allow Kenyans to create employment, because we don't need to send our children into Gulf to go feed dogs. And when we can be able to create employment here, and we haven't complained.
Members of the fourth estate. Now, sometime on the 21st or 22nd day of January last month, this year, we had an operation that commenced with the Kenya traffic police officers colliding or working together with the Ntsa. And this operation led to the crackdown of matatus, famously or popularly known as Nganyas. So we saw in Rongai, there was a matatu by the name Ambush, another one by the name of Money Heist that was impounded due to a complaint that was made that there were some touts that were misbehaving on the road. But that is not really the point. The point is this, that today we have received a court order a court order from my Lord Justice Bahati Mwamuye, and has ordered that the National Transport Safety Authority, the NTSA, together with the traffic police officers, that they should act within the confines of the law. It has been the habit of the NTSA and the police officers to impound motor vehicles, to behave as if they are the judges, they are the prosecutors. They impound vehicles, they take away the number plates belonging to these motor vehicles, rendering a lot of young men, the youths of this Republic of Kenya, who rely on this industry, rendering them poor and destitute. Yes. To an extent that we have had even an increase in crime, because we have young men who are not involved in any gainful activity, largely because the NTSA and the police officers in charge of the traffic have arrested, impounded, without any justification, lawful justification for that matter. So for that reason, we have had my Lord speak some sense to these people who are in these public offices and told them that they should forthwith release these motor vehicles that have been impounded without any court order or without any lawful justification. Secondly, because it has also been their habit of removing the number plates from these motor vehicles so that these motor vehicles cannot operate on the roads, they have been ordered to forthwith return the number plates belonging to these motor vehicles. It is our hope that they are going to respect the court order that has been issued by the courts, so that we remind ourselves that we are living in a constitutional democracy. We have the rule of law. We cannot have police officers or the members of the National Transport and Safety Authority behaving as if we are a lawless country, that we are a banana republic, so that they can make the law for themselves, implement it as they so wish or desire. If any of these young men, any of these matatu operators or owners have committed any unlawful act, we have courts of law. They need to be arraigned, we need to take charge and utilize the lawful procedures that are there. But for them to act in the manner that they have acted is unconstitutional, is unlawful, and has been stopped by the courts of law. Lastly, it is important that we mention that this industry has led to the employment of so many young men, young women, and even elderly members of the society. It takes quite a lot to prepare that matatu to be the Nganya that you see on the road. There are people who sell TVs. They are employed, Luthuli Avenue, they are employed by these people. There are people who participate in the artistic works so that you can see the ambush motor vehicle, you can see the money heist, you can see all these motor vehicles in this fashionable sense that they portray themselves in. So we should not run away from the reality that we are living in a country where we have many opportunities of employment. And if this industry has provided these opportunities of employment, it is important that we support them. Thank you. By impounding their vehicles, taking away their number plates is not empowering. It's impoverishing people and creating a bedrock of violence and lawlessness in this country. Thank you very much. That has been my time. I'll pave the floor for my senior. Thank you.
Well, as everybody is aware, I'm contesting to be the senator of Nairobi. These are my voters. And they approached me to defend them against what is blatantly illegal. One issue that is very clear is that the police and the NTSA impounded these vehicles since around November. Those vehicles are lying idle. Some at the police stations, some of these vehicles are at home, because you can't be on the Kenyan road minus a number plate. Some of my members here were arraigned before this Milimani traffic court, and they were fined. There is no lawful order from any court of law in this country to impound and detain these number plates. We have gone to court because these people, as you can see, cannot afford to pay us. We have taken this matter purely on a pro bono basis. Why? There is a provision in the Constitution that talks about consumer rights. The consumers are the passengers. They have a right to choose which type of vehicle they will use. Government cannot force anybody to board a vehicle that they don't want to board. Kenyans have chosen their vehicles. They are in the hospitality industry. There are 5-star hotels. There are 4-star hotels. There is a kiosk. Everybody, even roadside, consumers of food will choose which ones to eat and where to eat. My clients are very clear that they are provided a certain form of a vehicle where you get the services you are paying for. And based on that, we have gone to court and invoked the right for consumers to choose. 2, we have invoked the right for citizens to have the best facilities in form of transport. 3rd, we have invoked in court the question of participation. All these people have leaders. They have their senators, they have their governors who are elected, they have their organizational structure called SACCOs. None has been called to a round table conference. Based on that, I'm putting the leadership of Nairobi, from the county governor to the county senator to the county women rep to the over 19 members of parliament, that this is an issue that every leader in Nairobi should address. To give a preview, Shadrach might not be knowing, I bought the first matatu in 1994. I drove matatus. I paid my school fees for law by the matatu industry. My matatus are operating between KU, Githurai, and Nairobi, stage 45. I know the pain these people are facing. As a former matatu investor and as a former matatu driver, I can associate with them. 2, the numbers of people who are feeding from these matatus is colossal. We cannot be telling our youth to go to clean toilets in Dubai instead of them being makangas in Kenya here. Where is the priority of government? We cannot be telling the people employed in this industry to move out of the industry, to go elsewhere. They have a right to make a living. They have a right to do business in this country, and they must compete with other competitors. That is very, very, very clear. Of great concern is the type of arbitrary decisions that we have seen from the NTSA. These people, for the benefit of the citizens, one Nganya to buy it, to get the licenses, to put the infrastructure of music and the graffiti, one Nganya is an equivalent of over 30 million shillings. 30 million shillings, you will get that out of 30 million shillings as capital seed, the bank has provided over 25 million shillings. These people every month must remit probably over 500,000 shillings or 1 million shillings to the bank. when you detain a vehicle and they must pay the loan, who is going to pay that losses? I have further instructions after this to seek for compensation, which we'll be filing tomorrow. These people have lost per day an equivalent of 20,000 shillings per day times the 2 free months they have not been in business. And we shall not be suing the Kenyan government. We shall be suing the Director General of Ntsa in person. We shall be pursuing the police officers in person, those who have detained these vehicles. It is not government policy anywhere. There is no law. If there is a law, then it is government policy. So we are going to seek compensation of all these members to the tune of almost 5 billion Kenya shillings. That is the loss these customers of ours, these clients of ours have lost. And the people must be surcharged. The government will not pay a coin for officers who are rogue, who have decided to take law into their own hands. Vile nilivyosema, wamepoteza zaidi ya bilioni 5 tangu hizo magari ziweze kushikwa bila idhini ya koti. Tumeweza kupata amri ya koti hizo gari ziachiliwe. Kesho saa 2:30 asubuhi, mimi na mawakili wangu tutachukua hawa kwenda Ntsa kuchukua number plate zote. Tumeserve Inspector General Police, tumeserve Ntsa, sheria watakuja kotini kuverify kama hiyo order ni genuine ama ni fake. Kwa hivyo ilani ni kwamba kesho wale ambao wote magari zao zimenyang'anywa license, tutaenda nao pamoja kuchukua hizo number plate na waweze kurudi, kisha tutashtaki kutafuta hiyo hasara ambayo hawa wameweza kupoteza. That is all from the lawyers of the organizations. And we are saying na tumerudia, an attempt to cripple the matatu industry, my law firm shall represent all the matatu people and all the boda for free in Nairobi. That is the guarantee that any government officer wanting to misbehave, these people have their law firm that will represent them for free so that law and order is maintained. Thank you. Unless any other.
Mtu akiwa 18 bado ni mtu